Welcome to the video on how to properly use the VES tool for entering quotes and completing orders. We're going to start out after logging into the system. Your screen will default to the new subscriber so that you can type in the information and start placing an order. But what we're going to start with today is the quote tool, which is on the blue bar here. And once we click that quote tool, we'll see that we can start typing an address for a resident or a student account. Once we get to the add address, what we want to do is type in the address for the house that we're at. Now, you never want to type in the whole address. You want to let the list populate and select from this list, because that's how it's entered into our master list, so you're not trying to add an address that's already in the system. So generally, if it doesn't populate, that means that it's not serviceable at this time. Now you'll notice you have a green entry here, which is a pre-sale, and it's denoted with the pre-sale. And then you have the black ones, which means that it's serviceable and we can schedule it for an install. So for today's video, we're going to do a serviceable, and we'll do it at this 105 Vero Court. And all you need to do is click on that to bring that address into the bar for you. Once we do that, we want to click the Submit button. Now it's going to load our quote tool so that we can start quoting the services for this customer. And we'll notice that the address is up at the top. We have the one-time charges, which means this is our installation fee. And here in Kentucky, we have a tax on labor, and it's $2.10. So you see the $25 install fee plus the $2.10 in taxes. The monthly charges, this one is the monthly rate before taxes and fees. Okay. The reason that you see it as $4.95 is because of the billing fee. We don't have any services on this account yet, so you're just seeing the billing fee. Now, the monthly total is what I use most commonly. The monthly total, that tells me what the price is with taxes, fees, services, everything. This is going to be what the customer's monthly bill is going to be out the door with taxes and all. Now, your after promotional price, please keep in mind that your after promotional price, that is when all promotions end. So if you're giving them a phone that's free for 2 years, well, this is going to show that third-year price, okay? So it's after all promotions. Now, the prorated invoice estimate, this one's important because anytime a customer starts a service, whether it's with us or another company, that first bill is usually prorated. So it could be a 28, a 30, or a 35-day bill, and this will tell you what it's going to be with taxes, fees, one-time charge, and then those estimated prorations. So this is good to talk to the customer about, so this way they understand, you know, how much that first bill is going to be, and then it's not always going to be that amount, okay? Now, the next thing is getting into our quote. So with our quote, we can see our tabs down here at the bottom. And we see TV, we see internet, phone, and miscellaneous. What we're going to do in this case is we're actually going to do a triple play just so that you can see how to do those. So we click on our TV tab. We can always tell that we're on the TV because it's dark gray. Okay. We have our various packages here. If we select a package, first we can see that it adds to our price up here. Okay. Also, we see this icon that comes up right here, which looks like a little paper. Normally, this is where you're going to be adding your rate plans, your discounts, or your promotions. When in doubt, you can always click this paper, and it'll pop up this window to the left here, and it'll give you a chance to select the rate plan. So in this case, standard TV does not have any special pricing. It's $76.06. So we just click apply, and the price stays the same. Okay. But what I do want to show you is if there is a discount off a TV, it's down here under the extras, under video discount content. You would put a check mark in there, select your paper for the promotion, and you'll see that up here we can offer this customer $20 off of the standard TV package. So we click that, we click apply, and you'll see the -20 go in because that's deducting that from their bill. One thing I always like to look at is if it's in green, you know that you're charging a customer or you're deducting from a customer's bill, okay? Now, adding boxes is very easy. Most commonly, customers want the DVR, so we put a check mark there. Now, we do have a promotion where we can discount that DVR to $5 a month for the first year. So we click the paper, we click the rate plan, and we change it to the $5, and watch what happens. The $16.95, when I click apply, is changing to $5. To add additional boxes, you want to click on the Add STB, and you'll see that your rate plan window comes up, and you'll see that you can select your wired set-top box for $4.95 or your wireless for $7.95. In this case, let's add a wired box. As soon as we click apply, you can see that it brings it into the order. So you'll just do that step for however many boxes this customer wants. And then once we're done, we'll click that apply button. And then we see that we've added 2 boxes and we have the DVR. If for some reason you need to remove a box, it's as simple as unchecking the box, and you'll see that now we're only charging this customer for these 2 boxes. The next thing that I want to point out is the channel lineup. Nice feature here. If we click the channel lineup, it'll bring in the zip code for the address that you put in. If you're searching for a specific channel, you can do that, or you can view all channels that are in the packages by scrolling down. But in this case, the customer wants the DIY channel. So we type in DIY, and you can see that it cuts out all the other channels except for the DIY. And if this customer wants DIY, we're going to have to put them into the preferred package, okay? So it's a nice feature for searching channels quickly. And when you're done, all you have to do is close it out by clicking on the X, and you're back at your main screen again. If for any reason during the quote, you can always press the reset button, and the reset button will actually clear all of those services out. Now, the next thing we want to add to this, well, let me point out your channels. So this is where you would put on the sports tier. This is where you put on Stars, Cinemax, Showtime, HBO, and that type of things there. So that's where your premium stations are at. Now let's move on to the Internet. So Internet, we're going to hover over the Internet tab and click it. Now we know we're on Internet because it's in dark gray. And here we're going to select whatever Internet package we want for this customer. So for this customer, let's do the 500 meg. And I'm not really sure if there's any discounts on the 500 meg Internet right now, but let's take a look. We can click on our paper Edit Parameters button, pop up our window, and select, yes, there is a promo, $59.95 for the first 12 months. Awesome. Let's go ahead and take that. It's discounting at $10 a month for the customer for 1 year. We click Apply, and it changes that. The next thing is the routers. So a router is included at no additional charge, but if the customer does not want it, you can always uncheck router, and it'll remove it from the account. But in this case, I want to add that router because I want to point out that the Wi-Fi extender, the whole home Wi-Fi system that we offer, if you want to add that to an account, all you're going to do is put a check mark in there, and you'll see on the right-hand side it automatically adds in one Wi-Fi extender. There's no reason to add more extenders. The technician will see, how many extenders they need, and they'll add them accordingly. So you can just leave it at the 1, but the $6.95 did go onto the account because it's in green here, okay? Now, the last thing that we're going to look at is our phone. So with the home phone, we will select the line, and if you notice up here where it says New, the business rules state that we can add 2 phones in a home for residential. So we have the option of putting 2 phone lines into this house, and we can put both of them on the order at the same time, which is nice. Now, in a quote, it doesn't matter. The quote doesn't care whether it's a port or it's a native or new phone number, so it's not going to have you select that here, okay? But what I do want to point out is the phone here is $9.95 a month. Well, we have a discount on that where we can make it free for 2 years. So we click our Edit Parameters button, the paper, we click our rate, and we change that promotion to 0 for 24 and apply it, and it'll take it off of there for us. All the other things that you're seeing below here are just the various calling features. your non-listed, non-published number, that type of stuff. So if this customer does not want voicemail, you can uncheck voicemail and it'll remove it off the account. Okay. Now, the last thing that I want to point out is your miscellaneous tab here. So your miscellaneous, this is the technology fee. Every customer pays it. We can't take that off. Okay. If we wanted to sign this customer up for auto draft, the ACH payments, we can click that button and it'll pop out to say checking or savings, and we can put that information in for the customer. This you'll do more on the order, not on the quote, but I just wanted to point that out to you. The next thing that can be useful here would be the free month credit for the DSA team. When applicable, they would click this and they could use that promotion. And then lastly is if the customer wants an ONT battery backup, so that, let's say in this customer's case, he doesn't want his phone to go out if the power goes out, we can click that and add the $49.95, and you'll see that that's a one-time charge. So it raised our one-time charge rate up here because it's only a one-time charge. Okay, so that's a nice little thing there. Now, you can see if I scroll down, you see some promotions and stuff down here. This is something that I never even look at because all it is a summary of the promotions that you've put on. So I personally don't go down here looking at everything. I just stay basically on the top half of the screen, okay? So in this customer's case, when I'm explaining it to him, I'm letting him know that he's got a one-time charge of $27.10. I go over to my monthly total and let him know that his bill with taxes, fees, everything is $172.39, and his after promotional price, year 3, will be $231.36 when all the promotions that I put on drop off of the account. His prorated invoice for the first month is $227.40, which is your monthly total with taxes, fees, plus your one-time charge. Now, once we're done with this, we want to look at it as a summary, maybe even show that to the customer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the Submit button, and it's going to put everything on one sheet here for me, okay? But this sheet here I don't really think is easy to explain to a customer. And also I want you to get in the habit of always going down to the bottom and clicking Order Summary and look at it in this view. Because in this view, you're seeing everything a lot easier for you, okay? The other thing is when we go to send this to an order, we want to be at this screen, the final screen, in order to send it into the order portion of VES, because if we do it earlier than where we're at now, all of your services and promotions won't transfer over. So just making that extra click or two is definitely going to help you to be faster, because it's going to load all that information for you. Now, you can see that the customer's billing information is here. So you'll see your one-time charge summary, your monthly taxes and fees, all of that type of stuff. You'll see the address, okay? The customer, if you were to email this, will get the customer portal, and they get the contact information to the store that's closest to them, okay? Speaking of emailing, if you wanted to email this quote, you can click on email, and it'll populate for an email address. So if you wanted to email this directly to the customer, you could put their email address in. If you wanted to email it to yourself, you could do that, and then you could always forward it to the customer, however you wanted to do that, but that feature is there for you. Now that our quote's done and this customer says, yes, let's do this, we can take all this information so we don't have to re-enter it into the system, and we can click on VES. When we do that, it opens basically a new window, but as you can see, the address is auto-populated in for us, okay? So we want to make sure resident or student, we'll do a resident, and then we'll do the customer's first name. Now the Social Security number, in my case, you're going to see me entering numbers in. They're test numbers. Please do not use the test numbers that I'm using in this video to create any type of accounts. It's a special social number basically just for what I'm doing with you folks today. Okay. Next, we want to let the system encrypt this SOCH. It'll go gray, and once it goes back to a normal screen, then we know we can proceed. So we put the customer's email, cell phone number, allow texting, sure. Now, very, very important here, contacted. How did we get contacted for this order? Okay, if you're in a call center, a lot of times it'll be customer called us, and what you'll do is you'll enter, if you're in a Metronet call center, you'll have an I3 call ID that pops up on your screen, and you'll enter that. If you're in a non-Metronet call center, then what you're going to do is you're just going to put the customer's phone number in on the I3 call ID. You'll just put their phone number in there, okay? Now, the other is if we called the customer for whatever reason. And then lastly, if you're in the field as a field rep, a direct sales associate, then you're going to see walk-in. And when you select walk-in, the customer is going to have to sign the iPad. They have to put a signature on there. With these two, it's using the call ID number to give you the proper disclosures. So in this case, we're just going to go ahead and use customer called us to make it easy. So we put the customer's phone number in there. If the customer was referred to us by another customer, this is where you would search for their information. So let's say that my other test account, which is Rob Bartley, referred Robert Bartley. We can just type the name in or any of this information and click search. Once we click search, the system's going to find that account. And you can see that it embedded the account number and the name in there for the referral. We'll click submit. At this point, the system is running the Social Security through TransUnion. That's who we use to do our credit inquiries. It's also verifying the address, making sure that there's no orders at the address, and all of that type of stuff so that our order, when it goes in, is done and completed, and we're ready for installation in this case. Now, the test server does take a little bit longer when going through these screens, but your live scenario that you're going to be using will be a little bit quicker than what we see. Now, one important thing is up here. This yellow box drops down and it says the data was loaded from the quote tool. So what I always do is I remember when I did the quote, it was $172.39, and that's what it is in the order piece here. So I know that all those services transferred over. But it's a good idea to always double check that. To scroll down, we had standard TV, we had a wired box, a DVR, discounts on there. We gave them $20 off the TV. See, we gave them the 500 meg at a $10 discount. We got the router, we got the extender, and then we added the phone, okay? So the phone is free, okay? So we're good. So the next thing we want to do is click the submit button. Now, please keep in mind if there's anything that you're missing, you'll always get an error message that pops up at the top. So this tells us that there's a problem on the phone tab, okay? So when we go down and we look at our phone tab, it's in red of what we missed. Well, on the quote, it didn't care whether it was a new line or a ported number, but in the order, it cares, okay? So we have to select one of those. So if you're going to do a new phone number, you would click on New Install, and then it'll bring in the phone number. Now, in my test scenario, it's not going to do that because it's not linked up to actually pull phone numbers in, okay? But that's where it would put the phone number right here. Now, what I do want to point out is the number port, because this is very, very important. Your ported numbers, you want to make sure to allow at least 4 to 5 days to allow that number to port over properly from the other company. You want to make sure that you enter the ported phone number in the box here for the phone number that you're porting, okay? The next thing, and the most important really, is the consent type, which is right here at the bottom. You have to put the consent type, which means letter of agency, LOA. That means that the customer's with you. It's a walk-in scenario. You're in the field with the customer, and they're going to sign the device, the iPad. The TPV, or third-party verification, that is going to be what all of the call centers are going to be using. The field reps will use this as well if the customer's not present with them during the order process, okay? So if it's third-party verification because the customer's not signing the device, select your third-party verification, click on TPV instructions. It slides out a window here so that you can call the TPV number with the customer, and then you can get the TPV confirmation after the customer's answered all the questions on the recording. You'll take that number you recorded, and you'll type that number into the TPV confirmation number section, okay? There's no reason at all to play with any of these over here. Just leave them the same, and you'll notice that all of your features transferred over from what your quote was. Now, I'm going to have to take the phone off of this order because in the test environment, I don't have a way to port a number or to complete a new number. So to take the phone off, or any service for that matter, uncheck it and it'll remove it from the account. So now we're just doing an internet and a TV, and you can even see, I verify that my bill dropped by $10 because of the taxes and fees. So I know my phone's off of there, okay? So once I've done this, now I want to click the Submit button. When I click the Submit button, it's embedding those services into the account and building your base for you, for the account. You'll notice here, the first thing that I look at is my estimated time for how long it's going to take the technician to put the services in. So I always round it up because I want to set, a good expectation for the customer. So I'll let the customer know that, it's going to be probably 6.5 hours for your installation. And then we're going to move on to scheduling our installation. And I'm going to click the calendar, and I will see that it's going to populate up what we call the quota. So it'll tell us what days and times are available for us to do our installation. If both these boxes are unchecked, it gives you AM and PMs. Now, one thing I do want to caution you on is if this customer wanted the 16th, you can see we have an AM and a PM. If they want a PM, you have to select the PM box before you click on the date. Because if you don't, the system will automatically default it to the AM. So then you'll have to go back into it, select PM, and then click your day, okay? So you'll see that we set our installation date. It filled it in on all these boxes for us. And lastly, one thing I just wanted to point out, when in doubt and you click the order process, it's always going to tell you if you're missing something. So look for the red boxes. In this case, it wants to know how the order was placed again, and it's doing that because of the disclosures, okay? So in this case, we had selected that the customer called us, okay? The notes for the order. This is where I always put, please call customer when on the way, okay? So that the technician sees that. And then we click our process order button. Our disclosures will come up of the payment terms, about the credit inquiry, the video discounts, all that type of stuff. So once these disclosures have been gone over with the customer, you can click the Submit button, and then you're going to start processing the rest of the order. So the system is currently communicating with our ETA system for the technician. It's scheduling and locking in that appointment for the customer. It's putting the services into the account. It's also, just verifying that all the information and everything is correct so that our order will be complete. The last page of this you're going to see, which it's building that now, is the summary sheets. So I always recommend emailing every single order, whether it's a pre-sale or whether it is a serviceable. You always want to email these work orders to the customer. And the main reason is it gives them the information to sign up for the online portal. They can see exactly what services, the pricing, everything that's on there. And it definitely makes that customer just feel a lot better about the purchase, knowing that, they can see exactly what you've done on the work order. The nice part is it's going to give the customer services information, and email address as well, so that if the customer has to reschedule their install or has a question of whether the technician's on his way there or when the technician might be there, anything like that, the hopes are that it's going to drive that phone call to customer service. Now, let's take a look at our order summary that's going to go to the customer, because what goes to the customer looks exactly like what's on your screen. You'll see here that their name is on there, the email address to the store, and the phone number, all the services and discounts that you picked. It has their appointment information, the date, time, your note, has the customer information, meaning the address, the account name, here's their account number. They can click on this, go to the online portal. They can sign up for their online portal to set up the e-statements, the auto pay, all of those features. And then they have the information for the storefront as well as the hours. Once we're completed and we know that this information is accurate, we can click email. Because it's an order, it auto-populates the email address from the customer that you typed in on the main screen, so that when we click sending the email, it's automatically going to go to that customer, and you can confirm because it's going to show that the email was sent to this customer. Okay, great feature. Now, if you're in-house, a Metronet employee, if you click on email me, it will send an email to you with the order, and you'll see that it'll email it to one of my email addresses here, okay, because it has me embedded into the system. If you're one of our business partners, this button won't do anything because it'll send it to an email address that you can't actually check. So what I recommend is just clicking on the email button after sending the customer the email. Take this out of there and then put your email address in there, and it'll email you a copy of the work order. Okay? Once we've done this, this order is complete. Now, if any reason, if this was a Social Security refusal or anything like that, and you had to put a note in the notices section, which will be another video later, all we have to do is change our tabs. And if we change into the Details tab, you can actually see a few things that are interesting. Is you can see the account number, you can see your installation date, and you can even go back and view the last order summary by clicking on that, and you'll actually see that it tags that the email were sent to the customer. Okay? So that concludes our video on how to do a quote and an order from a quote in the VES tool.